Team Star is the quote-unquote evil team that represents Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and the 9th generation of Pokemon. Being the only evil team that's made up of exclusively kids really, and each of the bosses slash admins have their own unique backstory. Unique by Pokemon standards, of course. Which even still felt like a nice upgrade to Pokemon Sword and Shield Team Yell, which only really consisted of nameless grunts and their leader Piers. So today I'm going to be going over Team Star's full story arc that we can see in Starfall Street. I want to preface that because you can technically fight the Team Star bosses in any order you want, there isn't technically a definitive chronological order some of the flashbacks can happen in. However, because of how the levels of each of their teams are, I'm just going to order the story off that, meaning Giacomo's first, Aries last, and concluding with the overall climax. Anyway, let's get started with how Team Star formed in the first place. Around a year and a half before the main events of the story, Team Star was formed by a mysterious figure who went by the name Cassiopeia, with the goal of getting students who had been getting bullied at the academy to join the team in hopes of the members standing up to their bullies. They even trained up their Pokemon as best as possible just in case a large-scale battle broke out. Luckily, the bullies completely backed down once confronted. They were so humiliated by this that a scandal ended up breaking out within the school, resulting in Team Star's bullies dropping out of the academy. Cassiopeia tried to take matters into their own hands by taking all the blame so their friends would be completely off the hook. The previous director of the academy at the time, Harrington, agreed to Cassiopeia's request. However, the unnamed deputy director at the time erased all the records of the scandal in an attempt to shield himself from the blame. Thankfully, this guy was fired, but Harrington and the rest of the faculty at the time willingly resigned due to being ashamed of how poorly they handled the bullying problem at their school. Cassiopeia tried to end Team Star altogether as well, but it wasn't enough to convince the 5 bosses to abandon their posts, hoping they would hear from them one day again if they just didn't give in. So for the past year and a half, the 5 bosses hardly showed up to their classes. The grunts that were part of their respective squads even encouraging other students to join. This type of instance is where the MC has their first encounter with Team Star. A couple of grunts were near the square in Mesagosa trying to recruit a student by the name of Penny, a very shy girl who had just returned to Paldea after studying abroad in the Galar region for a year and a half. Once you defeat the grunts and save Penny from them, she thanks you and proceeds to run away nervously. Later, after the MC takes a brief tour of the academy, they get a call from Cassiopeia, asking the MC for their help to take down Team Star. Apparently, Team Star has a code of conduct where a boss has to step down from their position if they are defeated in a Pokemon battle. The first admin to take down is Giacomo, the leader of Team Star's Dart Crew, which looks over the Sajin base and the guy responsible for all of Team Star's music. A big shout out to him for making both the grunt theme and the boss theme just so incredibly catchy. Giacomo was the former student council president before Nomona took over, but he wasn't in office too long due to how strict his policies were. He joined Team Star after being humiliated and alone from the boot from office. Upon arriving to his base, you'll be contacted by Cassiopeia, where she'll give you a quick rundown of the base you're about to enter. She does this every time. Also, a student by the name of Clive will meet up with you for each base quest, hoping to figure out why Team Star is the way they are. And the student obviously being Director Clavel in disguise. Before the MC is allowed to take on a boss from a squad, they have to go through an auto battle gauntlet of Team Star's grunt Pokemon. AKA, you have to defeat 30 Pokemon they send out via auto battle in a span of 10 minutes. Which, if you somehow can't get done unless you're AFKing during it on purpose, then I don't know what to tell you. Giacomo's team consists of a level 21 Pawniard and a level 20 Revavroom that's Dark type with the ability Intimidate. Although the normal version of that Pokemon is Poison Steel, the modified versions of these Revavroom fit the typing for each respective boss, with each of them having a unique ability and a signature move to match their new typings. Giacomo's Revavroom's signature move being Wicked Torque, an 80 base power Dark type move that has a 10% chance of putting the target to sleep. Meanwhile, Airy, for example, has a Revavroom with Stamina and the signature move Combat Torque, which has 100 base power and a 30% chance of paralysis. You get the gist of it. Defeating Giacomo in battle earns the MC one of the 5-star badges and the TM62 Foul Play. Cassiopeia will always call you at the end of each base takedown to give the MC more LP in their account, usually followed by them naming out the boss you defeated in what I assume to be a somber tone, which was clearly meant to foreshadow Cassiopeia being the true boss of Team Star and feeling bad that she has to disband it. Penny also shows up each time at the end of a base defeat to reward you more materials to allow you to craft a wider variety of TMs to potentially make your team stronger if you choose to do so. Mela is the second admin who leads the Fire Crew and guards the Sheeter base. Fun fact, each of the Team Star base names are named after the 5 brightest stars in the constellation known as Cassiopeia. How very fitting. Mela was bullied because of how jealous other girls in her classes got of how cute she was, leading to her to take on a much more punk rock looking sense of style, which got them to back off off a bit. Mella's team consists of a Torkoal that sets up Drought from the get-go, and of course a Fire-type Revavroom with Speed Boost. And Mella's the reason these things are even able to move in the first place. The signature move, Blazing Torque, is another 80 base power move that has a 30% chance of burning at targeted hits. Defeating Mella awards you the second star badge as well as the TM for Flame Charge. This is followed by a Charcadet with the nickname Charlos looking for Mella. This Charcadet has belonged to the Academy for educational purposes and missed Mella dearly, so we came looking for her in hopes of getting her to come back to the Academy. This kind of act touches Mella, but she isn't willing to leave her post quite yet because the big boss hasn't made their return. Boss number 3 is Atticus of the Poison Crew and overlooks the Navi squad inside the Tag Tree Thicket, also known as Lag City. Atticus sticks out quite a bit to me because of the way he talks. It sounds like he's reading off the script of a William Shakespeare play, which is actually part of the reason he was bullied in the first place. He became an easy target due to how much he hyper-fixated on old-fashioned things. Though this didn't stop him from making all the badass outfits the Team Star admins wear in games. His team consists of Skuntank, Muck, Revavroom, and Revavroom, with the second one having the ability Toxic Debris and its signature move Noxious Torque being 100 base power while having a 30% chance to poison you. Defeating him earns you the TM for Gunk Shot. And this is followed by Clive and a young student from the Academy showing up, attempting to get Atticus to come back to classes. The kid in particular seeing Atticus as one of his heroes, because if it wasn't for Team Star standing up to the bullies, then this kid and even more of his classmates would have still been tortured on a daily basis. This touches Atticus, but just like Mella, he isn't willing to just straight up call it quits completely, because the friendship he shares with the big boss and the other admins is his greatest treasure. The fourth boss is Ortega. He controls the Fairy Crew and overlooks the Rukba base. Ortega was also the one responsible for getting each of their Revavroom to be as strong as they are, and to be clear, Mella was in charge of getting the actual vehicles to operate, and Ortega was the one to change their types, I believe. Ortega's team has Azumarill, Wigglytuff, Dashbun, and a Fairy-type Revavroom. The ability for that being Misty Surge, with the signature move Magical Torque being 100 base power, and has a 30% confusion rate. Beating Ortega earns you the TM for Dazzling Gleam, and also triggers the Harrington backstory about how the whole bullying scandal was covered up. I'm not gonna full dive into that a second time since I already mentioned it at the start of the video. The final admin you fight is Eri, the master of fighting types. She leads the fighting crew and overlooks the Calf Squad base. Eri became a bullying target similarly to Mella, where she was once the queen of her class, pretty, athletic, and a great Pokemon trainer to boot. The bullies were clearly jealous of her. Although Eri looks super menacing on the outside, she does have quite the soft side, even befriending the original instigator who started the bad rumors about her, a student by the name of Carmen, who was the former class queen before Eri. Unfortunately for her, the plan to become class queen backfired and she ended up being targeted by bullies too, resulting in her joining Eri's fighting squad. Eri's team consists of Toxicroak, Passimian, Lucario, Annihilate, and a fighting-type Revavroom, which, like I mentioned earlier, has the ability Stamina and a signature move Combat Torque that gives 30% chance of paralysis. Defeating Eri earns you the TM for Close Combat and reveals to the MC and Clive that Cassiopeia is the true mastermind behind Team Star, where they request you meet them at the Academy schoolyard after dark. As the MC tries to get there, they are stopped by Clive at the front entrance, who not only reveals himself to be Director Clavel all along, but claims to be Cassiopeia as well, further claiming that the Cassiopeia voice through the phone was pre-recorded by him the entire time. It was fairly obvious by his stuttering he was lying, but he insists on challenging you to a battle to decide everything. Defeating Clavel forces him to reveal the truth about not actually being Cassiopeia. His goal was to prevent you from having to deal with such an emotional battle like that, because he did have a pretty good idea of who they really were. Plus, he didn't want an ordinary student dealing with such a big task, so his battle was also a way to test if the MC was ready to face the real Cassiopeia. Clavel gives you all his support and hopes the MC can actually win against them. Once you get to the schoolyard, Cassiopeia arrives on the scene and is revealed to be Penny. Penny tells you the idea to take down Team Star using you came to her after she saw you take down the grunts at the beginning of the game. However, part of her still wants Team Star to live on and doesn't want to just give in without a fight. Director Clavel soon shows up in the Clive disguise and acts as the recorder for the battle that's going to unfold, to make sure all of Team Star sees what's going to happen. Penny's team consists of 6 of the 8 evolutions, the only ones missing being Espeon and Glaceon, and her ace is Sylveon. Defeating Penny prompts Clavel to reveal his true identity to Penny, as well as bring out the 5 admins to meet her for the first time in person. The 6 of them have quite the emotional reunion amongst themselves. Director Clavel also apologizes for not taking Team Star's will seriously. He wished he had known the reason the Academy was such a bullying-free place when he started was because of all the BS Team Star had to put up with prior. So he declares that Team Star won't have to disband, nor will be expelled if they don't disband. Though Clavel still can't forgive everything they've done, since they were cutting class a ton and modifying their school uniforms, which prompts his idea for the Team Star bases to be repurposed into training centers, where other students can learn how to train their Pokemon from each of the 5 admins. The 5 admins agree, but Penny is still a bit on the fence. Though after you visit Clavel in his office, Penny agrees to partake in the STCs, but she thinks she should be punished more severely than the other members because all the LP she gave you during your journey was required illegally by hacking the Pokemon League's LP management system. Clavel doesn't seem very pleased hearing this and thinks he'll need to contact Gita to figure out how to proceed. Soon after, Penny calls you to the stairs that lead up to the academy, where she tells you the Pokemon League isn't really going to punish her, but were rather impressed by her technological skills, wanting her to do volunteer engineering while she's still in school and possibly getting a full-time job at the league after graduation. The story ends with Penny thanking the MC for everything they've done before giving you the TM for Draco Meteor and running back to the academy. And I do want to quickly mention, as for post-game content involving Team Star, you can visit the repurposed bases for each of the admins and rematch them in a traditional style trainer battle, where all of their Pokemon are around the mid-60 range in terms of levels. Well, that pretty much covers everything for Team Star story / the Starfall Street Path. Let me know in the comments below who your favorite Team Star member is, or if you have any parts from the story that really stuck out to you, whether that be positive or negative. I'd love to know your thoughts. Of course, if you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like down below and subscribe with the notifications turned on for more awesome Nintendo related content. But for now, I will see you guys next time. Peace out, take care, bye bye.